tube. So this tournament, okay, this tournament here, what is this? This is actually the Charlotte Chess Club Invitational. It was 2016 and there was an invitational tournament. What does that mean? You kind of, you can be invited to it, but they kind of invited some people, which they personally reach out to you and you have to pay your entry fee or whatever to get in, and you play. Like, it's only a select people can play in, which I think it was like 9 or 10 of us in each section. But there's 2 sections, GM section, there's an IM section. So, you score well here, you're going to get a norm. That's what this is based off. This tournament is for norms, nothing else. You go to this tournament to come back with a norm is the goal here. GONK, thank you so much for the follow. That's what this tournament is about. It's 2016. I'm playing in this tournament and I scored 4 points out of 9, so I just missed it by like point and a half, something like that. But this was a very, very good tournament. I learned a lot from it. It was fun. So in this first round, I'm playing with the black pieces, and what today's theme is how to play the Maroczy bind, or the Jedi actually, against the Maroczy bind is what this is. So I'm going to show you guys what this is about, what the Maroczy bind is, and all that stuff. So first round, this is who I'm playing. Everybody I'm playing is bona fide monsters, masters, okay? I'm in the IM section, so everybody here is strong, okay? Excuse me. It's like everybody's here strong. 2200 plus, no doubt about it. So this is tough stuff. So let's see what happens. First round, I'm playing Gauri Shankar. He got 4 IM norms. He has 4 of them. All he needs is the rating of 2400. And he's there. He may even have more than 4, but I remember he had 4 of them, 4 IM norms. So the guy's super strong. Back in the day, I actually didn't remember I played him. He was like, yeah, we played before. I'm like, what? No. But we actually did. A very long time ago, he won the game back before. I think I was even 2000 then. I wasn't even 2000. But here we go. So he's 2400 FIDE, or USCF actually, 23 something FIDE. Very strong, very strong. So he plays white. Here we go. Maroczy bind. E4. E4 is on the board. I go my trusty Sicilian C5. Okay. Then we go knight F3 and then G6. I always play the accelerated dragon. So if you play the accelerated dragon, hyper accelerated, you get to see this hands-on with the Jedi here today. G6, they go D4. D4, you absolutely take it in all. Sicilians, you just take on D4. Pawn takes, knight takes. And now, after I go knight C6, it's a standard theory, meaning a regular book here. Now what happens is white has a few moves. Knight to C3, bishop E3, knight takes C6. These are all standard moves here. But then this one is very, very different, actually. And actually, he played bishop C4. Wait, is this even the right game? It just doesn't feel right. Yeah, this is right. This is right. But he played like a Maroczy bind way, I guess. So knight C6, knight takes, queen takes. And what this is like F3, bishop C4. This is very binding on my center. I can't do anything for D5. And it gets very annoying, to be honest. So he goes bishop to E3. And this reminds me so much of the bind here. Because bishop C4 and the pawn being on C4, usually the bind's like this. This is usually the usual bind, where they go C4. And with this being here, it's like this. So they have a bind on the center, which is very annoying. And when you have a bind on the center, it's not fun for black at all. And when you go bishop G7, most people do. They go bishop E3, knight F6, knight C3, and we get everything for white here. Like, they get to defend the pawn. They can play F3 and stop you from playing D5. White got way more space. You eventually just going to get crushed because you don't know what to do with the black pieces. And if you know what to do, you'll be fine. But if you don't, most people don't, you're going to have a bad game. So here he played a modified version of it with bishop to C4. I played against the bind a lot. Yeah, me too. Absolutely. And, the book I used to study it from, actually, would say that how we play the Maroczy bind, which the way we're going to show you, the bind has lost its deadly grip. That's exactly what it says verbatim in the text. So after knight to C6, bishop C4 is actually a modified version of it. And this is actually I think more aggressive, but also different because you get a piece out and the bishop is not as bad as it is usually when you play C4 because it's behind all his pawns and stuff when in Maroczy bind way. So bishop to C4, I go knight F6 anyway. This is like the miscellaneous kind of stuff. He plays knight C3, I go D6 because I'm anticipating bishop E3 for knight to G4 kind of stuff. So he goes F3 and he stops my knight to G4. Knight to G4 is definitely going to be played. Oh, yes, it's Jack and Chess. Yes, sir. That is right. So knight to g4 is not a thing anymore. And now this is really like a Maroczy here. Knight x e4 and d5. I just don't feel like that's the way we want to go right now. Let me see. Knight takes, pawn takes. Yeah, that doesn't work. After bishop b3 here, snap. Hello, big fella. Oh, you might as well have a good day. Not a thing. Don't even do it. Oh my goodness, he has jumped off the deep end. Why do I even play chess? You start asking these questions to yourself. What is this? Why do I even play this game? You know, that's tough. And I knew it just didn't work. I never done it. And I was like, this is not the right move. So it just can't be right. And it was not. Absolutely not. So we didn't go for that line. D6 every day, says Lorgan. Lorgan, you are hilarious. Lorgan's like 2200. Bishop G7, Bishop E3, castles, and Queen D2. We are in a Maroczy bind, but this bishop is so weird. I mean, I've never played this over the board, even let alone like blitz games, having this bishop on c4 in a Maroczy bind, but it's not a Maroczy bind because the pawn is not on c4, but it's a Maroczy bind. It's so weird. So weird. So I thought this was very good, clever here, but when you find yourself in these kind of positions, you just have to play the regular move still. What would you play in this? Usually Maroczy bind, we go a6, queen a5, b5, and play on the queen side. Basic stuff. Bring this knight to d7, knight c5. All the time, that's what you do. So it's going to be no different here. So I go bishop e6 anyway, because if bishop takes pawn, pawn takes. And this is a very interesting way to play. I think this is very, very interesting. And why do I say bishop e6 is very interesting? Because it helps a lot with, like, if bishop takes, you know, pawn takes, and then I have a control over the center on both squares. Both squares having like this control is very good. You usually don't want to have double D pawns or E pawns. Double center pawns, period, are just not good. But having these double pawns are like strong right here from where I am, because I can play D5, for instance, anything like A3. And here, then D5, and then snap and everything. It becomes fairly good for me, honestly. But let me see the rest of this here, actually. It's a little different. It actually has, after bishop E6, it says rook to C1, which I know that can't be right. This is from the site too. This is from the site. Like, I got this PGN from the site, and it says that white's next move is rook to C1, which is not a move. A5, knight A4, knight D7, B6. Yeah, this is familiar. This is very familiar, guys. This is very familiar now, but this is not what was supposed to be played. I have no idea why the PGN says bishop to E6 here. Very, very weird. I mean, actually, rook to C1. So we're just going to fast forward and see what happens. After F3, D6, looks like transpose to a standard dragon. Nice. Correct. Science square. So I'm going to just fast forward some moves here, because for some reason, this bishop was hanging, and that was not what happened in the game. But this is the PGN I actually grabbed from one of the sites. So, okay. Bishop to E2, knight to C5. So a knight to C5 in this position, what I'm having here is I'm okay as black. I'm feeling really good with this position. As a B6 and my pawns are all connected on the queen side, I have no issues here. My knight coming to C5, I'm attacking his, so I can double his pawns and attack this one. If he takes, then I can take this way. Pawn structure is nice. A4 is a thing, just to get rid of my weakness and open his file. This bishop's very, very strong. There's a lot of positives to my position here. And if he takes with the bishop, I have two bishops. That's just never going to be a move. So, you know, queen c7 is coming next. I also have this f5 move, which is really dynamic. And this is I'm not having the problems of the Maroczy bind in this game. So after knight to c5, let's see what he went. He went knight to c3. Knight to c3, backing up. He didn't want to trade. And in the Maroczy bind, there's going to be a lot of slow play. You got to know what kind of game you're playing. This is going to be nothing fast. All maneuvers are going to take a lot of time here. And after I castle, is game time. I tell all my students that after I castle, it's time to just go to work. Meaning, like, I can do almost anything. I need to get stuff off the back rank. Queen d7, I didn't know what to do here. It's not really a potential, like, threat to do anything. It's also provoking, like, stuff like this. Queen c7, same thing. I mean, honestly, the knight can just swing in. So my queen has no good place to go right now. I don't really need to move it. I'm castled. My rook is doing well here. My bishop's nicely placed. Knight's pretty good. Why don't I just break with f5? It's about that time. So that's what I did. I just broke with f5. I was like, just time to play f5. Is this for YouTube? That's right, Banatore. Everything is for the YouTube. You already know. And if you are not following YouTube, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is right here in the chat. So f5. I go f5. And then he castles. He castles here. So at this point, I mean, I'm comfortable. It's very, very, very comfortable here. And here's the thing. I can win a pawn here immediately. I can win a pawn. Check this out. Bishop takes. Bam. Takes. Pawn takes. Pawn takes. Boom. I get one too. Nice. But here is the thing you should always know. Look at these weaknesses around my king. This dragon bishop is what they call it, is stronger most times than a rook and a pawn together. And a pawn. So you'll be in trouble. Bishop h6 is not a move here, Banatore, because you just like jumping off the deep end. Don't hang the queen. But it's gonna be ugly. And I was not trying to just give this bishop up for a measly pawn here, which he can always get back based off his position. He has 2 bishops. I gave up 1. And being down a pawn, like, he's not really down a pawn. He got sufficient compensation is what they call it. He has sufficient compensation for being down a pawn. 2 bishops, you know, and mine is gone, even though he's just down a pawn. I mean, open rook files, like, this is not going to be a long-term advantage for me at all. So I'm just not going for that. Did not go for it. So I kept my bishop on the board. I just was like, you know what? You know what? You know what? It's just time to develop. Queen d7. I just got off the back rank. It's just, sometimes you have to do that and figure out what to do. If he's going to go bishop b5, then I might go queen b7. So if he goes bishop b5, queen b7, just to put, you know, some more pressure on his pawn. I don't have to give up this knight for it or this bishop for it at all. That's not a move, says Roop. Yeah, I just don't have to do anything. Queen d7, I'm just out of the way and trying to see what he does next. And actually, queen b7 might be a move that I'm going to make. Knight to d5, very strong, trying to get rid of one of these bishops immediately. And also b6 is a potential threat. So now what would you do here? Well, I play queen d7 to potentially go queen b7. So that's what I did. I just got out the way. Queen to b7, defended, and everything's fine. The thing about the Maroczy bind a lot of times is white has a lot of space. And with them having these kind of spatial moves and this bind that he has in the center, and this is good, you got to play dynamic for black. And dynamic means you don't need to trade right now, but I do need to be set up in a way that I can actually, when I do start trading, it's going to be beneficial for me. So queen b7, I'm good here. I'm actually really threatening to take this pawn now. I'm absolutely threatening to take this. So he needs to do something about it. So white goes bishop to d4. Very strong move. So now this does not work the same anymore. Why allow the Maroczy bind? Could you play knight f6 before to avoid it? Knight f6 runs into e5 sometimes, which you can try to avoid it. Knight f6 is just usually not the move. And also f3 is a thing. Jedi Lessons, I'm in here. What's up, Mr. Mark Filorowski? Welcome. So bishop d4 is the move he made. I trade it because it's good to trade. If I'm going to give up the bishop, I am at least going to trade it my way. Because after bishop d4, it's a forced trade, guys. It's literally forced. Okay, I have to trade this bishop whether I like it or not. So I'm not going to let him take and put my king on a vulnerable square for him to come in queen d4 kind of check and stuff like that. So bishop takes d4. I just take it myself with check. Queen takes d4. Rook a to d8. I go here. I'm just setting up shop. I am waiting to do something here. I'm probably going to take this next and go into a bishop versus knight endgame, which is comfortable for black here. I was actually anticipating bishop takes and like e5 because this is not that easy, which of course is always like that in a Maroczy bind. You should know that. So rook to d1. I just snapped this off immediately because I'm ready to trade. Sicilians are very, very good for in-game wise for black. 500 bits. Thank you so much, Roop. Appreciate the love. 500 bits. Thank you. Thanks for the love, man. So pawn takes. I knew this was going to be a thing because this is the way to try for an advantage. But if I notice his minor piece versus mine, his bishop's just not good. It's not good. So I was like, okay, that's fine. But to offset my bad bishop, I have this backward pawn. And e5 is potentially a thing I want to do. So when he captures en passant, I can take back with my knight and get this queen to move and play d5. That was my whole plan. And I remember I had to put this rook on e8 first to do it. Oh, actually, so let's see what happened. And that's actually what I played, rook f to e8. I played this move so I can play e5 next because there's really nothing else to play for in a position unless I go for something random, which I could. But this pawn is very weak, and I want to get rid of a weakness. If you have a weakness, it's very beneficial to get rid of it as quickly as possible so it's not a target for the entire game. So I want to do something like queen d7, queen e8, queen f7, and queen f6 or g7 to get this queen off of here. That's way too many moves. Like, that's just ridiculous. So I play rook to e8 and e5 so I can still keep some counterplay alive and put my rooks in the center and see what we can do here. So I go rook to e8. He goes f4. I think he's trying to put the bishop on f3. And at this point, I'm like, what else do I do? I have nothing else to do but to go for why I did rook to e8. So I played e5, and this is where it's about to get crazy. Maybe not crazy, but it's about to get real. There's a lot of exchanges, right? Pawn takes, knight takes e6. I'm hitting the queen. He goes queen to d2. At this point, I'm like, man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling okay. It's knight versus bishop. And I do have to remember this too. What kind of position is it? Open or closed? It's open. And he has a bishop versus my knight, so I have to be very careful. Even the queen can act as a bishop on the other sides of the board for the other squares that I can't control because I don't have a dark square bishop. So I have to be careful on where I place this knight and etc. You know, so if I'm able to trade off queens, then I might have a better shot at even trying to even win the game here. But let's see what happens. I go queen to e4. Queen to e4, I'm just sitting here because I'm actually threatening knight takes f4. So I can take on e2. It's an x-ray here. Notice the x-ray. How can I pay attention to it? What can I do about it? So I play queen to e4. He goes bishop f3. And I was like, he just let me take the pawn. He just let me take this pawn. And I'm trying to see if there's anything wrong with this now. Queen f4. I did. I actually took the pawn. So I took this pawn. Am I like up any material here? It's just equal. So I honestly got up a pawn here. I don't even remember that. It's the first time I looked at this game in a while. Queen takes f4. I found it. I was like, I got to cover it with you guys. But queen takes f4. I was up a full pawn here. But it's difficult when bishop versus knight in games. Even being up a pawn does not mean that you're going to win. Especially when you have a knight. When you have a knight versus a bishop. Because the bishops are easy to swipe across the board and grab stuff. Let's see what happened next. He went queen to f2 here. And I played rook to b8. So there was there something better? Oh, moving this knight is jumping off the deep end completely. Ouch. Gotta be careful. Isolated d pawn. Correct. Correct. Bishop c6 a problem? Well, I had knight e2 check. So knight e2 check is always a thing, science squares. You looking though. You are looking, big fella. He actually says, was this a line? So he's talking about queen e4 here. Snap, snap. Knight takes bishop c6. Ouch, right? But then you just got this in-between move. King f2. And then move my rook to somewhere safe where it's defended. Rook e1, hitting e5. I can go here first, hit his rook too. So if he takes mine, I take with check, and then I come back and snag. I wonder if you could take this. No, that doesn't work because I take the bishop. So everything wins. Everything wins. The check, yep, absolutely. Those in-between moves. It's a Jedi thing. Queen takes f4. Queen f2. I play rook b8 because if the knight moves, it's just over. You might as well resign. You might as well. It's just a wrap. It's over because bishop check, a discovery on the queen. It's really over. So, and if I don't move anywhere else, if I don't defend it, he's just going to take it and be up a pawn or get his pawn back. So I play rook to b8. Queen still holding this. No checks yet. So what does he do? g3, kicking my queen. Pretty good. I go queen e5. I'm probably gonna swing over to c5, but he goes rook d5. I was like, that's strong. That's real strong right there. I can't go queen c5. He also hit this pawn. I'm like, that was strong. Like, that was strong, man. Like, what do you even do here? This is not even fun anymore. I went from like, dang, I'm up a pawn to like, okay, what just happened here? What just happened? Like, what do you even do? So I play queen to c3. Queen to c3, and then he takes here. Oh my goodness. Now I'm like, uh-oh. You know, I gotta be careful where I move this knight. And how do I move this knight? So I went knight to g5. I mean, because I have to go for the only thing I have is this check, and also knight to e4. Pretty cool move. So knight g5 comes into play. He goes bishop to g2, and then I was like, I have to get rid of this pressure now. I have to get rid of it now. Knight e4 is very interesting to me now, looking back at it, but I am giving a pawn up after captures. So if knight e4, bishop takes. That's automatic. Pawn takes, not a move. So rook takes, though. Rook takes, he takes here. And I'm actually down a pawn now. So there's nothing direct right now. What about rook here? Does that do anything? What does the eval read right now? Eval says it's equal. Even being up a pawn is still equal. And that's what, you know, I was saying before. Just because you up a pawn doesn't mean you're winning. And he is up a pawn here. Rook b to e8 is very strong just because of the fact that I can get to 7th rank without anything. Like, I can just get to 7th rank, which means a lot. And this could fall, and also his king is vulnerable to checks. which means if this rook's here, he could be mated. You know, there's many things that could happen. I didn't see this at all. I was actually into the fact that I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of pressure on me, so I'll play queen e3. And I tried to trade. Then he brings the rook over to d1. I trade, and I go knight e4 check. And at this point, I'm like, well, shoot. I mean, he can take the 7th rank, and we're going to see what happens. Honestly, I was going to double up and bring this rook here and hold. And hold. He takes it. We go here. He goes rook here. And here we go. Rook in game 101. It's completely equal, though. Completely equal here, guys. Completely equal. And I think somewhere in here, he offered a draw, or I did. I offered a draw, and he didn't accept it. He was like, I don't go to art school. I don't draw nothing. Like, I don't own pencils and pens. Big fella, what do you even mean? So we had to push on. And let's see what happened. King g8, a3, rook c6. I'm hitting his pawn. So he has to, like, defend it. It's a draw theoretically. Absolutely, Benetore. I believe it. And it is. Rook to c6. And he goes king here. So I played a4. But can I just take this? I think I just wanted to make this. Oh, yeah, man, that was sweet. Dang, Jedi mind stuff here. I played a4. That's sweet, bro. That's a big fella move, a4. Because rook takes, you can take this. And I could have played a4 anyway, so I could have reversed the move order anyway. I could have captured, but a4 is nice. Because if b4, I get the snap, and then I come back and get this one with check after he snaps this one, leaving this one pass pawn, a little bit of initiative in my court, and then I can swing this rook over and probably snap that one too with a pass pawn, probably grab this one later, because I'm faster in the race. I'm just faster because of the tempo. Tempo makes you faster, gain time, extra move. So I get to snap that and this other stuff, and it's just, you know, it would have been sweet. It would have been real sweet. Arrows, that's right, that's right. I played a4, that was strong, man. And if he takes it, then you snap here, and these are doubled. And you ain't going nowhere with double pawns, especially a double rook pawn at that. So double rook pawns is not happening. I'm going to snap another one, and at worst, I have a draw with a4. That's pretty good. So he plays b4. I snapped, and then he went there, and I went back. So technically, right now, I'm up a pawn. But because I can't cross, it is absolutely a draw here. Unless I'm able to, like, do this. But then that runs into him getting in. But maybe not, you know, because I got pass pawns. So it's still very, very difficult. I would say it's a call right now. Yeah, the engine even says zeros, right? So, okay. So king d4. And I went g5 because I was like, if you're about to start walking close, I need to have something to deter you. And then go snag these. And that was the goal. So g5, he went here. I pushed, takes, and then I went here. And I was like, I'm about to get one back. He takes, I get one too. And I put the rook all the way here. So his king, if it doesn't find shelter, when I get here, there's no way to stop the check. That's a sweet in-game tactic to think about, guys. That is sweet. I was glad that I was able to have this on the board. At this point, his king is not sheltered. So if I get here and it's black to move, I'm going to find a check on one of these places wherever he is. I don't care where he is. I'm going to check you somewhere and then queen the pawn right after. So that was a goal. Now I'm on the initiative. So he goes king here. And I was like, oh. So I was like, where is he going? Oh, here. Because he shielded. I was like, man, that was strong. This guy is strong. That was real sweet. To be able to get your king close and be able to kind of check me to snag one yourself and also shelter your king. Sweet. Gotta know your end games, big fella. That was strong. So he went here. I checked him. I was like, not today. Not any day, actually. And if he goes king h6, which I was hoping for, then he jumps off the deep end. Rook g6. Oh my goodness. Fall out the chair. Fall back. Wow, what just happened? Is this what life really is about? You start asking yourself those questions and stuff. Rook g6, and it's over, right? So that would have been fun. That would have been fun. But I think it's just actually even, though. Actually, it takes push, 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 queen, queen. So it would have been the same, right? But king here. And check, 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 and all that other stuff. So even still a draw looking at it, but... Yeah, rook check. Is this going on YouTube? I joined late. Absolutely, hint to go. Absolutely, it's going to be on YouTube. So he went king here, and I just went back. He went king here. All right, cool. I went rook h1. Like, all right, we just going to get rid of this now. We're going to just get rid of this. Okay, check, and then check. And honestly, he was getting time trouble. So I went here, and I just kept perpetual. I just kept going back. Then I pushed the pawn. So now mine is going to get further down the road here. He went here, I went in, and as soon as he sacrifices, because my king needs to walk up and help out, I don't want a case where he's able to push this and take this as well. So then I'll be losing. That's what he wants. How is he going to win? If he's able to get the pawn here and take my pawn, then he can win. So I knew that, so I need to get my king involved. So he pushed and I checked him. And once you know, there's a thing to notice too, guys. This is like the PHILIDOR position. You should look it up if you don't know what it is. When this pawn advances, there's no shelter for the king. So you just check him. Wait for the pawn to advance, and then you check him because there's no shelter. If he runs too far away, then you come back and you get him from behind. That's exactly how it works. It's very, very well-known technique to do. So I checked him, check, and it was a draw, and that was it. But if he would have went the other way, if he would have went here, then I'm just going to walk in and get really close. Every time he steps off, check, and I'm going to get close again, and then check, and then check, and then I'm going to go back this way. And it honestly would still end up being a draw somehow. But thanks for the follow, Krogenstein. Appreciate it. So this was round one. This was round one. It ended in a draw, playing against Gauri Shankar. Nothing spectacular. Get the boring stuff out of the way. It was a draw. Some kind of Maroczy bind he tried. But this was round one of the Charlotte Chess Center's International Master Invitational. It was for Grandmasters too. So the next one will be round two.